Hey, it's Sam with another Learning Astrology video, and today I'm going to talk about the four main Carikas that you can use to find out really anything. Now, of course, this implies a lot because, again, it implies a depth of understanding of each of these different principles. For instance, the planet is a principle in itself. The house ruler, the house, the harmonic chart, the Varga, these are all principles in themselves, but this is a framework and a structure that you can use to really get to the heart of any astrological situation. Let's say you want to know about relationships in someone's chart, right? First you look at the Carica, the Planetary Carica, okay? Which is the capacity and the principle itself. So for instance, in a relationship, Venus is the Carica. And you'll find that this is the thing that is shared by everyone. For instance, the Venus of each person shows the common principle. Venus is the common principle that everyone has around relationships. The thing that gets us into a relationship, the principle of relationship, has to do with Venus, which is our desire to experience pleasure with another person. Sexual desire, which then leads to compromising and yielding and making the other person happy. Again, these are deep principles. Venus evolves, like all planets evolve, through the three gunas, through body, mind, and spirit. Venus through the body is in the form of physical pleasure for ourselves. We want to feel happy through the body, which in the form of food and sex. As it relates to partners, it's actually sex because that's pleasure that involves another person. I can please myself just by eating something. That's one of the other big Venus things. Immediately, if I want to be gratified, I can eat food that tastes good. And I'm happy with Venus then. Venus makes me happy. But I can't experience that same thing. To experience it with another person is usually, first it starts through sex, physically. Then it becomes more of an emotional thing, which is the Rajasic guna. And it means if I have to please myself at your expense, then I'm also not happy. So again, you see this as a problem in relationships when it's just based on sex and the person's individual pleasure. The relationship doesn't work very well because then it's tamasic. The person is just experiencing for themselves. They don't want to compromise. So Venus, the Venus principle, the shared principle, is the shared principle that everyone has around relationships. It's the same for everyone. And the Carica, the planetary Carica, is the thing that gets us, that hooks us into that experience. And when it's operating, when we're in that experience, that planet is the one that we need to use. Venus for relationships, for instance, Jupiter for children. Why Jupiter for children? Because when we're around children, automatically we become Jupiter. You see the person's Jupiter when they deal with children. They become gracious, they become forgiving, they become a teacher. We see that we're a role model. It doesn't even have to be our children, just children in general. We become very forgiving, very tolerant. A child can say, you're stupid, I hate you, and we kind of, isn't that cute? If another grown-up says you're stupid and I hate you, we don't usually receive that as well. And of course, if we treated everyone like we were all God's children, it'd be a lot better. So Jupiter, we learn Jupiter stuff by being around children and things that we love and that we want to create. Also, being in the role of a teacher. So our students. But in that situation, our students are kind of like, we treat them like we would treat children in the sense of being gracious, not like we treat our students like children in an insulting way, but it's the same gracious nature. So first it's children and then teachers. The reason teaching is also related to Jupiter is because it's that same kind of role. But every parent is a teacher. Of course, every teacher is not a parent, but Jupiter is the Carica because once we're doing that thing, Jupiter is active. Jupiter is the planet we need to use. When we're in relationships, Venus is the planet that's being activated. So that's why the planet is the capacity and the principle itself. So that's the first Carica. And you assess that to see what's the person's relationship with this energy. And you want to look at the other person's too. Like if it's a romantic relationship in a couple, matching the Carica is very interesting to see. How does this person perceive others and yielding and pleasure and desire and all of that? How do they handle that? It's the shared principle that they have in common if it's relationships. Then the house ruler shows that individual's nature. how it also shows really the specifics of their relationship with a partner. Again, Venus is the capacity overall, like just the principle overall. Like, what's their capacity with the thing is Venus. The house ruler is the person, like it says here, the thing itself. Like if you're a Taurus, Mars is the seventh house lord. So the partner is going to be like Mars. And you look and see literally, when people say, how do you tell what the partner is going to be like? Look at the seventh house lord. Not just stereotypically, but look at where it is in the chart. Look at the house it's in, look at what's affecting it, look at its dignity, and you'll see the nature of a spouse, for instance, much more clear than any other indicator. The house ruler, more than anything else. Look at this, you will see it. You'll see what the person wants, what the person is looking for in a partner. Very much. And you'll see the nature of the partners generally by the seventh house lord and what affects it. So let's say if it's, let's say you're a Pisces. The seventh house ruler is Mercury. So Mercury is going to really show the nature of your partners, not just stereotypically, but then wherever Mercury goes, it's going to show that quality of the partner. It's going to show, let's say Mercury goes into, Capricorn. So let's say you're Pisces and Mercury's in Capricorn. It's in your 11th house, so the partner will be ambitious, the partner will be maybe a little older, will be kind of conservative. All these things that have to do with Capricorn, the 11th house. Mercury also rules the 4th house. So again, these are deep principles. So you always got to look and see what's the other house that the ruler rules, all that stuff. So you'll see the nature of the partner, like if it's a relationship, based on the house ruler. It's the thing itself. We're talking about relationships. What's the partner, the house ruler? Look at the Carica, which is the principle of the thing, Venus. Then you look at the house ruler, the nature of the partner. And then the house itself is the field, which means the planet in the 7th house is going to condition the relationship itself. So let's say that you have Saturn in that 7th house. Saturn and Mars are in that 7th house. So you have the ruler in Capricorn in the 11th, but you have Saturn and Mars in the 7th house. So this is going to condition how you relate with that partner. The partner is older and all that stuff that has to do with Capricorn in the 11th house. But then you've got Saturn and Mars there in the 7th house. So the relationship you have with that person, the dynamic, the field of it, the thing itself, because that's, the house is like the experience of the thing. It's bhava, which means experience. The bhava, the experience of the thing, right? That's going to be conditioned by planets there. And again, it's a deep principle. You need to look at everything, like the house is the planet's rule, of course the nature of the planets, the yogas there, all of that. It's going to condition the relationship, the planets in the house. Very deep principle. And then the harmonic chart, which allows you to really drill down into the general overall nature as well of like the karmas that are involved with this thing, and also the specifics as it relates to the timing and the dashas and things like that. So it shows an overall capacity in general, and also specifics as it relates to timing and things like that. Harmonic charts are a little bit more subtle because you need to assess the ratio of energy in order to really accurately read the harmonic charts properly. They're extrapolated from the Rashi chart. No matter what anyone says, they don't trumpet or none of that stuff. Everything is connected. The Rashi chart is the aggregate of all of the things in our life, ourself and our career and our relationships and children and all that. The ratio of importance comes from the Rashi chart, and then the harmonic chart show the specifics, but the specifics fit in that ratio. So, and also the timing relative to all those things as well, the dashas. So these 4 karikas, as I say, can be used for anything. If it's career, you would look at the karika, which I generally use Saturn, because Saturn is the capacity to commit and sacrifice and stay with things for a long time. That's what makes a career. House ruler is, of course, the 10th house. Ruler, which is like the 10th house ruler, is going to show like the thing. What is the nature of the career? Often, 10th house lord is the most important. And then, that's going to show how the thing unfolds for the person, and then the nature, it's like the type of career, just like the type of partner, the type of career the person will be drawn toward, the type of thing that they'll commit to, the type of duties they want to have, the type of responsibilities they want to hold. Very much about the ruler. Planets in the 10th house, for instance, show the nature of the career, how it unfolds for the person. They're drawn to a certain kind based on this. They want certain responsibilities based on what's influencing the 10th house ruler, but then the career unfolds, and the field of the career, while they're doing it, the bhava of the career, that's what the house is, bhava, which is like the experience of it. Has to do, if there are planets in the 10th house, there might not be. If they're not, then you don't look at that part of it, obviously, because there's no planets there. You would just stay with the rulers. And then the 10th harmonic shows what I said, the ratio of importance, then the specifics of the timing and the general karma and the other kind of deeper specific composite of the career itself. Again, harmonic charts are a little trickier because they need to be worked with the Rashi chart, but you definitely see the specifics of it and how it unfolds in the basic integrity and whatnot from the harmonic charts as well. There are actually other karikas, like for instance the chara karikas of the Jaimini chara karikas, and there's also padas and several other things that you can look at. These are the four main that you can really start with and start looking at charts and seeing how these principles that I described work. If you like this, share it with others, and I hope this was helpful.